we don't generally think of labor as a buffer stock, but if we did, we might recognize that we have two choices. We have the choice of an unemployed buffer stock, which is what we generally do, or an employed buffer stock. Okay, and so since there's only two choices, you have to be in favor of one or the other. And being pretending that you just don't like the employed buffer stock means that you're in favor of the unemployed buffer stock and all the social and economic costs that come with it. Okay, so again, Tim was talking about employment programs and so forth. This is one that some of my colleagues in modern money theory have come up with. Most everybody that has followed us has seen this many times. But basically the idea is for a government to offer a job at a fixed wage, some fixed wage set politically. And the point of the fixed wage is, again, it's a buffer stock, and so you don't want market forces to drive the price up or down because that would be more stabilizing to prices. And the argument's going to be that this would be at least as good at stabilizing prices as an unemployed buffer stock. Okay. I simulated this in a 1500 equation model of the economy, and I don't pretend that this is the definitive word on what would happen with what we call a job guarantee program. It was more to get at the logic of how the program would work. It's a buffer stock, so it should be coming down on an expansion and rising during a recession. Okay, so that was what we were attempting to show there. But the interesting point of this is the cost of the program, and I just assumed that a quantity of people equal to the number of unemployed would be in the program. Okay, it doesn't mean that they're the same people, but I wanted a buffer stock that worked just to see how that would work. Okay, and so we end up with maximum spending, at least in my simulations, about 1.4% of GDP. On average, the program cost, the black horizontal line, about 0.95% of GDP was the average. So it's not a overly large program in terms of spending as a percentage of GDP. But if you do that, what you get is some stabilizing effect on prices. Not hugely stabilizing, but the program is not inflationary. The program has some permanent increase in the price level, and so a temporary increase in inflation when you start it up. But then as the economy expands and you get later in the expansion, when the economy normally would be building up inflationary pressures, this program's reducing inflationary pressures in the economy. Very modestly, but doing it nonetheless. So again, this is just a little bit on the logic of the program. It's not a jobs program in the sense of to just create jobs. It's a jobs program to become a buffer stock that will replace the unemployed buffer stock. Okay, or at least offer a different option to people. What's the opportunity cost of an employed buffer stock of labor? So this is really something that is difficult for people to swallow politically, is that the government's going to employ millions and millions of people and so forth. A lot of people don't like that. But if you don't like that, what you're saying implicitly is that you do like all of the social costs of unemployment. You do like all the unemployment benefits that we have to pay. You like all the crime that we have to pay to prevent, and the prisons that we have to pay to build, and the additional Medicaid spending we need, and that your health insurance rates go up, and that state and local government budgets worsen during a recession because of, or the state and local government budgets worsen when the unemployed buffer stock increases. Okay, so if you don't like an employed buffer stock of labor, then what you're saying is that those things don't bother you as much as the government offering to employ people and create a buffer stock of employed labor. The other thing we hear often, and this comes from economists quite a bit, is, well, the workers won't be very productive. Okay, but they kind of miss the point, which is they're comparing the productivity of people in these programs to people who are working in the private sector, when the real comparison is actually how productive the involuntarily unemployed are, because that's the opportunity cost, right? That's what you get. You get an unemployed buffer stock of labor if you don't have an employed buffer stock of labor. Okay. All right. A lot more could be said on that, and we'll probably get some questions on that maybe because Tim and I were both talking in different ways about this. Again, a good deal of literature on that from a number of us, so going a bit quickly through that right now.